The system is not designed to protect the innocent. It's designed to protect the powerful and their interests. But here's something most people don't see when we talk about corruption, when we talk about children being exploited and trafficked. I'm a survivor of 20 years of cult abuse, including child trafficking. Now I train law enforcement to be able to identify and combat child exploitation and trafficking in a trauma-informed way. Why? Because there are problems I can't ignore, because there is too much incompetence and corruption that I've witnessed and that I'm unable to ignore. And because legally we need law enforcement there when we do rescue ops. So it'd be great if they were actually helpful. I'm being serious, but I'm also highlighting the fact that law enforcement is not given training to combat child exploitation and trafficking in most, if not almost every place. Ask your local law enforcement, are they given training to combat human trafficking? And then follow-up question, are we talking about trafficking or are we talking about sex work in this training? I think it's very intentional that we are leading people to bark up the wrong tree. But let's also talk about how intentional it is that most people are only blaming the sharp end of the sword. Look, the system isn't broken, it's operating as designed. However, most people blame law enforcement because they see them on the front lines and they think the buck ends with them. That's not how the system is designed, though. I want to oversimplify it for you. Law enforcement is the sharp end of the sword. Yes, the sharp end of the sword definitely does damage, but most people are unwitting to the hands that are wielding the sword. Those hands determine not only the direction of the harm, but also the intensity of that harm. Now, if you're unaware of the attorney generals, the district attorneys, and all the other legal justice or lack thereof system that is not designed to protect the innocent, just realize that all those layers determine whether or not appropriate action is taken. If law enforcement is essentially the hands and feet, just realize there's a whole lot behind them that determines whether or not they're able to use those hands and feet and for what. This is not me defending law enforcement. This is me explaining how things work so that we can understand this problem of child exploitation and trafficking in America in order to solve this problem. For our solutions to be effective, our premise has to be correct. Does that make sense? Most people, not only in the nonprofit world, but also just in the world, if people are pissed off, normally their emotions are driving them to blame someone. The problem is most people are blaming the wrong source. It's not the root cause. The other problem is that a lot of people are sitting back blaming, but they're not taking action. We need to be looking at the policies, the politics, the prosecutors, the judges, all the different realms of mostly elected officials who we should be paying attention to in our community. I'm not talking federal. I'm talking about locally in your community. Do you know those people are elected? Do you vote for them? Do we put even a little bit as much intensity and emotion as we do towards the federal election, towards our